Hey everyone, I'm Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and welcome to episode 28 of Let's Platinum Danganronpa 1-2 Reload. If there's any chance the murder took place somewhere else, let's see the proof. Oh, I got it exactly right. Evidence that shows the murder took place somewhere else. I need to just focus on those things that got switched. The only thing that we noticed that got switched, or one of the things, was the posters.
I got it!
Didn't make sense for the posters to be in the rooms that they were in.
Else is the poster that's hanging in each locker room.
Your proof is some posters?
The poster in the girls' locker room was a picture of a big boobed supermodel. But don't you think that's kind of strange? Why would the girls' locker room have a poster like that?
I bet those massive jugs of hers were totally fake!
Meanwhile, the boys' locker room had a poster of the super popular boy band Tornado. Again, that doesn't really seem to belong in a boys' locker room.
So you're saying that maybe the posters were switched?
And there's one other thing I noticed about the locker rooms. You know what I'm talking about, right, Sakura?
You're referring to my protein coffee, aren't you?
Protein coffee?
While I was in the girls' locker room earlier, I spilled some protein coffee on the carpet. But I noticed that after the murder, the stain had been totally scrubbed away.
No, it's not the stain that was scrubbed away. It was moved. It's actually not the disappearing stain, it's actually the boys' locker room carpet.
I got it! The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed away. In fact, I found it on the boys' locker room carpet.
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
Then, does that mean that the carpets were switched too? But why would anyone do that?
To move the murder scene from one locker room to the other. It's certainly plausible, don't you think? What? In other words, in order to completely swap the scene of the crime, the blood-stained poster and carpet were moved along with the dead body. By doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room where the murder took place.
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but why would the culprit bother doing that?
Huh?
Why would they go through all that trouble of switching the scene of the crime? Actually, an even bigger question. If the murder did take place in the boys' locker room, then how did Chihiro get in the boys' locker room in the first place? To get into the locker rooms, you have to swipe your e-handbook across the card reader device. But Chihiro's handbook should have only allowed her access to the girls' locker room. She had no way to get into the boys' locker room to begin with.
No, she did have a way, and I can tell you what it was.
I highly doubt that.
Shut up! I'm telling you, I know how she could have done it.
Is he right? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow? Alright, so how did Chihiro do it? How did she get into the
Is it
boys'
really
locker room?
Possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook.
Nope.
She was the ultimate programmer after all.
Good
I'm
point.
sure that would have been no problem for her.
No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking
Oops.
about Leon's handbook, of course.
No, that's wrong.
She couldn't have used Leon's handbook because that was the one that was broken.
No, I don't think Chihiro used Leon's handbook.
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I guess that'd be pretty impossible, huh?
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave up.
Plus, isn't there a regulation against using someone else's handbook?
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. It says nothing about borrowing one. In other words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook all you want, and you'd be safe.
Yup, yup, yup! Hit the nail square on the noggin!
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
So then, she must have hacked hers, like I said. She used her ultimate programmer skills and...
Psst! You can't fix an e-handbook. The instant you open one up, a security buzzer starts blaring.
So, if she didn't use Leon's handbook, and she didn't modify her own handbook,
Maybe Mr. Naegi's initial assumption is just wrong?
It seems like there's no way she could have got into the boys' locker room. So I guess so.
Okay then, I vote for Byakuya.
Is that it then? Chihiro was killed in the girls' locker room and Byakuya is the one who did it? Really? Still, I don't know what else I can do.
Hold on a second. I agree with you, though. I think you're on the right track.
What the? You finally decide to open your mouth and that's what you've got to say? There's no way she could get in the boys' locker room, right? So,
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other way she could have gained access.
what?
What are you talking about? What other way is there?
Well, to explain that, why don't we take a little break from the trial? I'd like you all to come see something.
Wait. Just what do you think you're doing?
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting. I'm sure that thought must please you.
Huh? It'll make things more exciting? Well, all right then. I declare an official class trial recess.
Huh? For real?
Now then, what is it you want to show us? It better not be boring or I'll be very unhappy.
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty expectations. So, shall we go?
Ooh, what's going to happen now? So before I even knew what was happening, the class trial had been put on hold. We headed off with Kyoko in the lead, and where she took us was
The girls' locker room?
We've already searched this place top to bottom. What are you trying to pull, Missy?
I'd like you to examine the victim's body one more time.
You want to check it again?
Be sure to examine the entire body very carefully. Take your time.
Examine her carefully? Like using our hands? No way!
It's probably best if I don't run my hands all over a girl's dead body.
It's not that I'm creeped out or anything, it's just based on religious grounds, you know?
very well. I'll do it.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't have to touch a dead body. Just let one of the boys do it.
No, it's okay. I think Chihiro would rather have a girl examine her. So just leave this to me.
Sakura. What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? Is that what you two are about? That's not it at all. Stop screwing around.
Okay, here I go. I'm sorry, Chihiro. Please excuse the intrusion.
Putting her hands together in a brief prayer, Sakura then began to quietly examine her body.
Be sure to check her entire body, and I believe we will solve this particular mystery.
Her entire body? I know you say that, but... What? This is... What is this...
What is it?
Not possible. It's not possible.
Sakura's eyes were staring wildly at Chihiro's lifeless form. Her massive frame trembled.
This girl is
What?
a boy.
Dun 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 dun.
So she was actually a he. Interesting. Thank you for confirming this fact.
What?
You're joking, right?
I wouldn't joke about this.
Then it's really true?
That's right.
Chihiro was a guy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off the bat. Chihiro Fujisaki was totally a guy.
Then he was a cross-dresser? Oh, I'm really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
It's so funny that it goes back to, like, because Chihiro is a guy, like, then Genocide Jack kind of could have still done it.
So that's
But she
what
didn't know,
Kyoko
so
wanted to show everyone,
I think
huh?
that's how it goes.
Interesting. Yes, that certainly does make things much more exciting. Now let's ride this wave of excitement back to the courtroom and get back to the trial.
So just quickly, I'm gonna pause here. I just want to quickly talk about something. I don't want to talk about too much, but I just want to talk about one thing. In an earlier episode, I kind of paused at a specific moment and I questioned something that the game hadn't revealed yet, and that was the fact that Chihiro was a boy. But but the thing that was interesting to me was how it actually reflected on the first case, because the students were searching the rooms together. How did Chihiro keep it a secret that her bathroom door didn't have a lock and that she also would have had a toolkit? That was kind of like what I was getting at. There is kind of another angle to that I can't talk about now, but if I do remember, I'll talk about it when it comes up. But yeah, it's just kind of like a little bit of an interesting thing that happens in the first case and at the beginning of the game. And specifically, Monokuma mentioned that he knew all along that Chihiro was a boy. So yeah, I don't know, an interesting little, somewhat of a continuity error, but it's fine. It's just one of those things that it happens when you're writing such a big story. Anyway, I thought I just wanted to mention that.
I do apologize for keeping you waiting. Now then, let's resume the class trial. We've all just learned of the shocking revelation that Chihiro was actually a boy. Let's pick up from there.
Yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is, Chihiro was not a girl, but a boy.
To think that Chihiro was actually a guy. The thought had never even crossed my mind.
Because the victim was male, he would have had no problem gaining access to the boys' locker room.
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as male, then yes, that would be true.
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy through and through.
So then, there should be no issue with Makoto's initial assertion. The victim was killed in the boys' locker room, and was then later moved to the girls' locker room. And the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker room.
So Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room?
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but yes, that does seem plausible.
Well, I must admit, I did find it rather odd. I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain incongruity to his female body.
This is the most titillating situation!
So now everything has been connected. All the mysteries have finally become clear.
Okay, well, connected or clear or whatever. We still think you're the killer, remember?
Very interesting. This has become very interesting indeed.
Ah, he's off in his own little world.
What about you, Makoto? After everything we've learned, do you still think Byakuya's the killer?
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like Genocide Jack did it. But I...
Remember that line. Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like Genocide Jack did it, because that's going to come up a little bit later.
I think he might not actually be the killer after all.
What? But aren't you the one who accused him in the first place?
He just seems to be too easygoing about all this. Like he's enjoying us solving the mystery. The way he's acting, it makes it seem like it doesn't have anything to do with him.
And you think that might be because it doesn't have anything to do with him?
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too... how can I put it? Overt. He consciously chose to use the extension cord, knowing it could connect him to the murder. At least, that's how I see it. And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, it seemed to rattle you. And then again when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy. If you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have had any effect on you.
So that's your thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have more concrete reasons, but it's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct for the time being.
Mark it as correct?
He's right. I am not the culprit. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter it.
Are you fucking with us right now?
No, I am not effing with you right now. I'm telling you the truth.
I find it very hard to believe.
Go ahead, find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us.
If you're really telling the truth, then why? Why do you do that to his body?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important, wouldn't you say? Now then, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Well, I don't think I can say for sure without talking about it a little more.
You're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we? I thought it was clear Byakuya did it.
No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we need to explore every possibility. Because if we're wrong, we all die here.
That's true. Very well then. I'm with you too.
Damn straight. Count me in.
Do you not have a mind of your own?
Of course I do. What am I, an ant or something?
An ant.
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one more time. We still have time to make our decision.
That's very true.
Our lives are all on the line.
Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hide and seek?
But if Byakuya didn't do it, then who's the real killer? Who murdered Chihiro? There's one thing we can be sure that we know about the killer. The killer is a guy, and we know this because Chihiro is a guy, so he entered the boys' locker room, so the only way that he could have been killed was if there was another boy there.
I got it!
Since the crime scene was the boys' locker room, you would need a boys' handbook to get in. Since Leon's handbook is apparently broken, the killer would have had to use their own. In other words, it had to have been a guy. That's still not enough. I need to find some more clues. Alright, here we go. Now we're looking at Celeste's account.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer. And only the killer.
That's not right. Celeste saw Chihiro. Bam, 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 bam.
I believe someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Now that you mention it, yes, I did see him.
Huh? Really?
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows about this.
Only
The rest
Makoto.
of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Whatever! Just hurry up and tell us!
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag, and then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
A track jacket and a duffel bag? But we didn't find anything like that at the murder scene.
If you still don't know who it is, keep following along and pay really close attention to this part. A track jacket and a duffel bag, but we didn't find anything like that at the murder
It
scene.
seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence.
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd.
Well, I'd better get going. I'm kind of in a hurry.
Chihiro told me he was in a hurry. But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think.
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together?
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always declined.
So now that's been revealed why.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much. Enough so that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed.
What a marvelous friendship! The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
But knowing what we know, I can't even guess.
No, you already have what you need to make the connection.
Huh?
Do I?
You know who the killer is.
Seriously?
Who is it? Who's the killer?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of. Focus on the details of these items, and it should become obvious who was waiting for him.
Are you sure about that? You really think we can figure out who did it based on 2 pieces of evidence that we don't have?
What? You want to track down some fingerprints or something?
Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't know how to use it.
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's nothing to get fingerprints from.
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it out.
Easy for you to say, but fine. Celeste, did you notice anything special about the bag or jacket?
The bag was just a normal duffel bag from the warehouse. All the bags in there are the same, so I can't imagine what would make that one special.
Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose from. Do you think there might be some connection between the culprit and Chihiro's jacket?
Perhaps. Let's explore that and talk a bit more about the jacket he took.
Does Chihiro's track jacket really hold some clue about the killer? Somehow, it's really hard to believe. Alright, here we go. I'm going to let this one play all the way through, and I'll end the episode at the end. And you guys can try and figure out who did it. Don't post in the comments though, because, let's let the spoiler play out.
First of all,
But
we
just
know
have a
where
guess.
Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Cause exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit is?
No way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right? What he just said without even realizing it?
Are you saying there's something off about what someone just said?
First,
There is. And I'll leave it to you guys to figure out what it was. So, I want to thank you all for watching episode 28 of Let's Platinum Danganronpa 1-2 Reload. My name is Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and I'll see you next time.